In a bizarre landscape with trees that look like a witch's fingers and tons of dark ooze, the mood is already tense. Looking up, the sky is completely murky and sinister. Caught in the clutches of a terrifying, toothy monster, our MC feels the pain tearing through his body. With a sigh of frustration, the kid declares he just can't take this anymore. Brutally, the creature's jaws clamp shut, swallowing the poor guy whole. With blood pouring out nonstop, it's obvious that kicking the bucket in a place like this would be the end of the line. Suddenly, the boy wakes up in his own bed, realizing it was all just a dream. In a desperate attempt to catch his breath, our MC feels like the pain of that final moment was way too real. To make matters worse, he's been having the same cursed nightmare for 12 years now. Outside, the day breaks over the big city as if nothing happened. Quickly, our hero starts jotting down all the grim details in his notebook. Standing up, the young man assures himself he can handle the pain of meeting his end. However, in the middle of his messy room, the real torture is simply trying to get some sleep. Mentally and physically exhausted, the kid confesses he has no energy left for anything. The huge problem is that falling asleep in the real world means going straight back to that macabre world to be hunted all over again. When he takes a fatal blow in the dream, the pain reflects perfectly in the poor guy's real life. Clutching his chest in bed, getting a decent night's rest is impossible. Overcome by extreme exhaustion, our MC realizes he needs to do something. During 12 years of pure suffering, the boy learned war tactics and martial arts to survive the madness. Like a true master of stealth through the tall grass, our hero is now a combat specialist. Thanks to that, slicing up monsters in that heckhole became routine, and actually biting the dust became rare. But, walking through the aisles of a library, real life continues to take its toll. Still, our MC knows the continuous lack of sleep is destroying his mind and body. At a doctor's appointment, the physician suggests finding a calm hobby to relax and sleep better. With that in mind, the kid tries to imagine what on earth he'd actually want to do with his life. But deep down, surrounded by all those books, his only wish is to pass out and rest in peace. Completely broken, the young man just begs for a single moment of tranquility. Suddenly, spitting up a pool of blood, the protagonist's body begins to glow in a bizarre way. Without understanding a single thing, our boy's legs give out as his vision goes dark. With a hard thud on the floor, the hero faints, surrounded by blood in the middle of the library. Waking up, the constant headache is just gone, like magic, and his body feels super light. For the first time in 12 years, our MC finally slept well and felt the fresh air in his lungs. Facing a grim forest, the kid wonders if he finally kicked the bucket in the real world. Leaning on a twisted tree trunk, the young man takes a good look at the details of the scenery around him. The harsh reality hits hard, because this is the exact same nightmare world that has always tormented his life. From the shadows, a giant lizard monster approaches, drooling over the fresh prey. With his mind racing, our MC puts the pieces together, remembering the blood he spilled. Without a shadow of a doubt, our hero is certain that this time, he truly cashed in his chips for good. Faced with this cruel truth, the situation has now completely changed. Standing and ready for action, the young man understands that if he goes down here, there's no physical body to go back to. From that moment on, this cursed place became his new and only reality. Looking the beast in the eyes, the warrior already knows all the brutal rules of survival. The first step is to bolt to a well-lit area that the creatures hate. However, an electric feeling of pure adrenaline fills the boy's chest. Instead of running, the kid draws his sword and charges in for the attack. Full of determination. Full of energy, our MC feels invincible, being in a younger and, finally, well-rested body. In a burst of absurd speed, our hero advances, giving the monster no chance to react. In response, the scaly creature lets out a furious roar, opening its giant mouth to devour the intruder. With his weapon held firm, the warrior's entire body is itching for a good old-fashioned beatdown. The only goal in the boy's mind now is to fight to the end and tear everything apart. In a spectacular blow, the blade slices through the beast, splitting its carcass in two. As the monster falls, our MC lands calmly on the ground, drenched in blood. He quickly plunges the blade into the beast to rummage through the deceased's innards. From deep within the guts, he pulls out a shining core of pure blue energy. With his eyes fixed on the mysterious item, the kid knows very well the value of that little thing. Without a second thought, our hero bites into the stone, swallowing it all raw. With his face smeared with blood, the promise to survive in this bizarre inferno becomes absolute. Back to hustling through the dead trees, the journey finally begins again in earnest. Just ahead, sunlight illuminates the path, revealing a bright and safe area. At the top of the valley, the warrior breathes a sigh of relief for a moment, enjoying the view. After another perfect night sleeping outdoors, our MC wakes up feeling brand new. At this rate, he's been slicing through the undergrowth for a whole month, wandering toward civilization. Despite the itch to fight, the kid knows that acting on pure impulse is asking for trouble. After all, picking a fight for no reason with giant demonic bats would be total madness. Even in the shadows, the bloodlust continues to pound strongly in the warrior's chest. The rule of the game is clear. The hunt only begins when his stomach starts to rumble with hunger. In a spectacular leap, the sword slices through the aerial monster, solving the dinner problem right away. Along with the plentiful meat, another one of those bluish energy cores makes an appearance. Gulps of pure power flow down his throat. This is the main key to getting totally jacked. Our MC feels the beast's strength being absorbed directly into his body. With a full belly, resting in a tree, devouring these stones has become the best routine to handle the grind. In a moment of distraction, the young man notices an important accessory on the former owner of this carcass. From the writing carved into the wooden tag, it's clear the deceased was a third-class mercenary. Surprisingly, the boy's mind translates those weird runes with incredible ease. As the ultimate bonus, this simple tag around the neck proves once and for all that there are living people around here. Facing the bright light at the end of the forest, our MC realizes he's not alone in this world. Suddenly, a bizarre metal trap catches the young man's attention. It's clear from the get-go that the spiky contraption on the ground was made to catch people. Because of this detail, the kid figures that civilization is closer than he thought. With a quick jump, the warrior moves through the trees, hoping to find someone. Just ahead, a wooden cabin illuminated by sunlight appears out of nowhere. With wide eyes, the hero can't hide his surprise at finding a shelter. Entering the mysterious place slowly, our boy asks aloud if anyone's home. Hearing no answer, the young man starts to search through the dusty furniture in the room. On an old table, a book with a mysterious cover and drawn runes piques the intruder's curiosity. The warrior quickly flips through the pages and discovers it's a record of the demonic realm. From his shocked expression, it's obvious the content he's reading is pure gold. Inside the material, the history and the rules of that macabre place are noted with great perfection. With this incredible discovery, our MC is certain he needs this encyclopedia to survive. Suddenly, the sound of a boot stomping hard on the wooden floor breaks the silence. With a giant crossbow aimed at his face, a gray-haired old man demands to know the stranger's identity. With zero patience, the man threatens to put a hole in the kid's head if he doesn't get answers. As tense as it is, our hero immediately realizes the resident has mistaken him for a thief. In an attempt to calm things down, the young man explains he only came in out of curiosity. Totally gruff, the elderly hunter tells the boy to get lost because he's not in the mood to chat. Not wanting to push his luck, the warrior agrees to the order to back off peacefully. However, before leaving, the young man's finger points directly at the gold-covered book. Very politely, the intruder asks if he can borrow or even pay to read the journal. In a tone of pure challenge, the cabin's owner asks what happens if the answer is no. Suddenly, the kid's gaze turns dark as he states that the information is vital for his survival. Right after, the protagonist's hand goes straight for the hilt of his blood-stained sword. In a threatening warning, the hero confesses he'll have to become a real thief if necessary. Slowly, the blade comes out of the sheath, and the atmosphere in the room gets heavy all of a sudden. Despite not knowing the old man's strength, the boy fully trusts his own combat skills. Surprisingly, the old-timer lowers his weapon smiling and introduces himself as Hector. Shocked by the change in attitude, the young man takes the opportunity and reveals his name is Kim Woojin. Since the old man struggles to pronounce the foreign name, the newcomer asks to be called just Jin. Deep down, the hero understands his origins are way too complicated for the people of this world. Holding the book fondly, Hector explains that the item is precious and can't leave the house under any circumstances. As a condition to allow him to read it, the hunter demands help with chores, and the boy accepts on the spot. Outside, night falls slowly, covering the small wooden cabin in a dense darkness. Inside the iron pot on the fire, a hot stew boils, giving off a wonderful smell. Sitting at the table, the two eat dinner peacefully, showing the host has a good heart. With the first spoonful, the kid tastes the incredible flavor of home cooked food after 12 long years. With his eyes shining with happiness, our MC devours the soup, even thinking the old man is an angel. The next morning, the sun is barely up, and Hector is already packing his gear to leave for a long hunt. From their conversation the day before, the man's goal is to get revenge on the beast that devoured his former partners. Just by observing the tension in his ally's shoulders, the young man imagines the monster must be ridiculously strong. With heavy steps, the experienced hunter crosses the threshold, heading into the dangers of the dark forest. Alone in the peace of the home, the warrior finally opens the journal and starts devouring the secrets of that territory. Through the old pages, the story reveals that the whole disaster began in a great empire to the north. Driven by pure greed, the former king tried to open the gates to another dimension to steal absolute power. As a consequence of this ambition, a beam of red light tore through the heavens, bringing about the end of times. From this macabre rift, a bizarre tower covered in eyes emerged, spreading the nightmare across the land. Right after, a horde of giant and deformed monsters invaded reality to annihilate everything in their path. The region quickly became the demonic territory, forcing humanity to create a magical barrier. Closing the book's heavy cover, the hero tries to absorb the mountain of newly discovered information. According to the logic written there, the demons get more bizarre and powerful the deeper one goes into the darkness. On the other hand, the beasts lose strength and get smaller near areas illuminated by natural sunlight. Far from the cabin, the situation gets tight and Hector runs desperately through the giant trees. Suddenly, connecting the dots, the kid gets scared thinking about how deep in that inferno he was lost before. Breathless and in a cold sweat, the veteran hunter tries to escape imminent demise in the dangerous jungle. Right behind him, 3 enormous werewolves with glowing red eyes hunt their prey without mercy. With a quick shot from his crossbow, the old man tries to slow the beasts down, but their defense is as hard as iron. With a simple swipe of a claw, the bolt shatters into splinters, proving the creatures are a living nightmare. Faced with the wolves' absurd speed, the old-timer lets out a curse, realizing it's the end of the line. Out of nowhere, a dark blur crosses the forest at a speed far superior to that of the bloodthirsty beasts. With a sharp blade in hand, our MC emerges from the brush, cutting through the wind straight to the center of the chaos. In complete desperation, the old man screams at the top of his lungs, ordering the young man to flee from the danger. Ignoring the warning, the warrior simply leaps from a high branch, landing in front of the beasts. In a low dive, the impact of the fall already prepares the young man's body for an attack with crushing force. In the blink of an eye, a spectacular slash cuts through the air, splitting the lead werewolf from top to bottom. The scene is so brutal that the veteran's jaw hits the floor, unable to believe the newcomer's strength. Trembling before the mangled carcass on the ground, the cabin owner stammers, asking about the one-shot kill. With a chill and calm, our hero turns his head and calls his ally by name, breaking the shock of the moment. With a confident smile on his face, the kid asks if that weak thing is considered a high-level beast. Still stunned, the hunter asks if the young man is kidding, doubting the danger of a werewolf. Taking a deep breath, the man swallows hard and affirms with absolute certainty that the creatures are terrifyingly dangerous. That confirmation was all it took for our MC to shrug, amused by the low level of the threat. Firmly gripping his sword, the young man announces he's going to finish cleaning up the other wolves before hearing the rest of the story. Face to face with the furious pack, our hero quickly assesses the situation. With about 40 wolves ahead, letting his guard down would be certain suicide. To avoid the exhaustion of a long fight, the best tactic is to break the beast's morale. Focusing on the leader, the kid locks his sights on a giant monster right at the front line. In a burst of dark energy, the sword is already raised, ready for the kill. With no time to blink, the beast's eyes go wide as it perceives the imminent threat. In a clean and silent motion, the blade passes through, slicing everything. Confused by the scene, the other werewolves turn their heads, not understanding a thing. Suddenly, the leader's carcass topples to the ground, spreading general panic. Utterly terrified, the monsters begin to bark in desperation. With their tails between their legs, the entire pack turns and flees at full speed. In an imposing pose, our MC cleans his sword on the ground as the dust settles. Hiding in the brush, the veteran is dumbfounded to see such brave beasts running away in fear. From the kid's mental agility, it's clear he dominates the battlefield like no one else. Hours later, the pair finally returns safely to the small wooden cabin. Tossing the giant werewolf onto the table, the hunter says the bounty for this beast is 40 gold coins. Surprised by the value, our boy asks if that's a lot of duff around here. With a wide grin, the old man guarantees the money can fund a comfortable life for about 7 years. After hearing this, the protagonist's mind starts calculating the profits of this hunt. If one weak wolf is worth all that, it'll be easy to line his pockets hunting similar monsters. With this plan in mind, life in this new world promises to be much better than the torture of the past. Without wasting time, Hector packs a backpack loaded with the beast's pelt, supploins, and a map. The mission now is to go to the frontier village and look for a merchant named Jacob. As a thank you, the old man hands the entire treasure over to the kid. Despite the young man's refusal, the man insists, saying it's just payment for avenging his friends. In a show of pure respect, the old-timer extends his hand to say goodbye to his savior. In a firm handshake, the partnership between the two seals a bond of mutual gratitude. With the heavy bag on his back, the hero says thanks for everything before hitting the road. Along the illuminated path, the solo journey restarts towards the so-called village. Amidst the dense trees, the young warrior disappears over the horizon in search of civilization. With a steady step, the long walk through the woods finally comes to an end. Atop a hill, a bizarre, impaled monster serves as a warning to any threat. Just below, the imposing frontier village stands out with its giant wooden walls. From a distance, our MC notices that the structure is very well armed for a small town. After passing through the gates, the tense atmosphere in the air is immediately noticeable. On the dirt streets, everyone stares at the stranger with a scowl. Noticing the heavy glares, the kid gets that the locals don't like getting visits from outsiders. But in the middle of this backwater, the golden rule says that humans are worse than demons. Ignoring the hostile reception, the young man pushes open the door to the local bar. Inside, the ruckus of mercenaries and drunks is in full swing in the main hall. Heading straight for the counter, the warrior ignores the mess around him. In a calm tone, he leans on the bar and orders a cold beer right away. During a break in the conversation, the question about the whereabouts of a certain Jacob comes out naturally. Suddenly, a bald, scarred fellow turns his head instantly. Picking his teeth with a knife doesn't hide the backstabbing look of the man, who introduces himself as Jacob. Getting straight to the point, our MC says he was sent by old Hector to sell a pelt. Completely shocked, the merchant's eyes widen upon learning the hunter is still alive. With a quick hand signal, beefy thugs start to surround the newcomer. Eyeing the furry fabric, the bald man can't believe the impeccable quality of the werewolf hide. Immediately, greed takes over the swindler's rotten mind. With a sadistic smile, the criminal's true face appears without any disguise. In a mocking voice, the man celebrates the fact that the old-timer managed to get such a rare trophy. Joining the circle, the mercenaries in the bar draw their knives, ready for some dirty work. Without showing a hint of fear, our MC asks flat out what the heck is going on. Already wearing the beast's pelt, the bandit tells the boy to scram if he wants to get out of there alive. With a bored sigh, the hero confirms that the guy really does have the face of a third-rate con artist. With a lame excuse, Jacob claims he's just collecting old debts from the hunter. Apparently, the scumbag plans to use the goods to cover supposed fake losses. Faced with this nonsense, the young man's eyes glow red as he considers whether he should slice the lowlife up right now. However, getting his hands dirty over a piece of leather seems like too ridiculous a reason. Out of nowhere, the merchant throws a mug of beer right in the young man's face, as if he were trash. Laughing at the humiliation, the crook tells the stranger to get lost before things get worse. Without showing any reaction, the warrior turns his back and walks slowly towards the bar's exit. Satisfied with the theft, the bald man mocks the kid's supposed cowardice. With a loud slam, the wooden door closes behind the boy, sealing off the room. Standing in the middle of the hall, our hero breaks the silence, calling the swindler by name. With a psychopathic look, the young man warns that backstabbing is for amateurs, and the right way is to aim for the throat. Frozen with dread, the bandit swallows hard, realizing he provoked the wrong demon. Furious at the audacity, the thugs charge forward with their swords raised. Yelling that the boy doesn't value his life, the mercenaries attempt a simultaneous attack. Faced with this bunch of scum, our MC decides he won't feel any guilt about taking out the trash. In an absurdly fast dodge, the enemy blade cuts only the air. Startled by the strength and speed of the movement, the thug breaks into a cold sweat. Like a bloody flash of lightning, the MC's sword springs into action, tearing the first idiot in half. With blood splattering on the walls, the real carnage inside the bar has just begun. Without losing rhythm, the blade cuts through a wooden shield and its owner in a single blow. The hit is so violent that the sound echoes off the walls. Seeing the damage, a mercenary curses desperately, knowing his end is near. Relentless, our boy continues to slice up anyone who crosses his path in the tavern. Trembling with fear, Jacob backs away, trying to understand where this human monster came from. The merchant tries to find a logical explanation, because a guy that strong should already be famous. Realizing that standing there is a death wish, the con artist decides to act. Through the back door, cold sweat drips as he flees in the middle of the massacre. Completely in a panic, the bald man tells his own men to beat a retreat. In the frantic rush, chaos spreads to the street, with mercenaries bumping into each other. With a crash, the whole group is thrown out the door, falling onto the dirt ground. Disoriented, one of the thugs tries to get up, groaning in pain. But suddenly, his face contorts into an expression of absolute terror. Just ahead, a gigantic red wolf walks slowly, growling and drooling. And just like that, total chaos erupts and more screams echo because of the demonic beast's presence. On the street, the creature starts barking wildly, staring down the kid who just left the tavern. Observing the animal, the hero deduces that this is the scout wolf that had escaped in the forest. In a dark tone and with red eyes, our MC asks if the monster also came here to meet its end. Faced with the psychopathic gaze, the big wolf gets scared, and the hairs on its neck stand on end. Without a second thought, the giant beast throws itself on the ground, whimpering like a tame puppy. In a pathetic scene, the monster rolls onto its back and even wags its tail, asking for a pet. In shock, the merchant's thugs can't process what they just saw. Confused by the situation, the boy raises an eyebrow at the beast's bizarre attitude. For a moment, he considers the absurd possibility that this giant mutant is actually. But before finishing the thought, the kid advances with a firm step towards the mercenaries. With a chilling coldness, the young man points his finger and orders the wolf to attack the bandits. Like a loyal soldier, the monster straightens up immediately, awaiting orders. In a brutal pounce, the creature flies at the criminals, opening its jaws to rip them all to shreds. Screams of pain tear through the air as the thugs are devoured alive by the red wolf. Bathed in the shadows of the bloody feast, our MC watches the carnage with a smile of satisfaction. Watching the macabre scene, the kid concludes that this partnership has its advantages. On the other side of the chaos, a thug screams in terror, trying to back away. Trapped in the middle of the mess, Jacob tries to come up with a desperate escape route. Ignoring the chaos, our warrior assesses the situation very calmly. In a pathetic move, the crook merchant kneels, begging for mercy, promising anything in return. But deep down, the villain's eyes make it clear he's already planning revenge as soon as he gets out of there alive. Suddenly, a deafening crash kicks up dust as the boy's blade hits the ground millimeters from Jacob's face. With his sword stuck in the ground, our MC stares down the coward, who's crying like a child. In a low voice, the kid curses out the con artist, proving he didn't buy the lame excuse. The dark smile reappears, making it obvious the hero isn't going to play the nice guy this time. In a flash of memory, he remembers the times he was played for a fool in the real world. The excuses from deadbeat bosses, asking for patience while the money never hit his account. Knave back then, the boy put up with the humiliation silently, thinking things would get better. And in the end, the empty promises turned into constant delays in his hard-earned salary. In his memories, the image of his boss playing golf while delaying his month's pay comes back in full force. Furious at his superior's nerve, the protagonist grumbles about his own past knave-eat. The cynicism of the deadbeats who demanded collective sacrifice while lining their own pockets. Facing Jacob, the kid slams his sword into the ground, remembering the hell of living while being exploited. At least the pain of real life taught him that forgiving backstabbers only attracts more problems. Staring at the blade, the merchant realizes his whining didn't work, and his expression changes to pure hatred. With a hidden knife, he attempts a surprise attack, roaring for blood. Our warrior quickly moves, blocking the dagger with his own sword. The boy realizes that exploitative trash never changes its treacherous nature. With his teeth clenched in fury, the con artist screams a curse at the top of his lungs. In a clean and unhesitating counterattack, a perfect cut sends blood spraying into the air. With red eyes fixed on the corpse, our MC silently decrees his own rule of survival. In this unforgiving world, being played for a fool again is out of the question. With the cleanup finished, the kid turns to deal with the loose end. He observes the wolf, which is now carrying the bag of spoils in its mouth. It's clear the beast has decided to become the official hunting partner of the one in charge. After a brief moment of assessment, the boy turns his head, facing his strange new companion. In a casual way, he asks if the animal really intends to follow him. In an affectionate gesture of submission, the wolf rests its forehead on the hero's hand, receiving a scratch behind the ears. Smiling at the beast's cleverness, the kid acknowledges that the creature knows which side is safer to be on. From here on out, the unlikely duo will travel together, sealing a pact of blood and survival. The next morning, a bright-in room proves the rest was absolute, and the money is already paying off. With a slight smirk, our MC celebrates the perfect night's sleep. Stretching his fit body, the young man wakes up refreshed, accompanied by a yawn from his newest furry pet. In the courtyard, washing off the dirt and sweat in a rustic basin, he processes everything that happened the day before. Taking a deep breath, the reality of his own actions finally hits him. Thinking it over, the warrior acknowledges that he took human lives, dozens of them, in the Tavern massacre. However, analyzing his own feelings, a strange and unsettling question arises. The thought lingers whether the total absence of guilt is because the victims were cruel bandits. In fact, the sensation of slicing up those scoundrels was the same addictive thrill as hunting high-level demons. Pressing his chest as his heart races, our boy smiles wickedly, realizing that killing gave him pure ecstasy. Looking at his own blood-stained hands, our hero feels that something inside him has changed for good. Cold and calculating, he even considers that he might be cursed but soon shrugs it off, since the important thing is to be alive. The good side is that this new reality promises to be 1,000 times better than the slave-like routine of his old world. With the giant wolf by his side and the sword at his waist, the journey restarts without the injustice of his past life. Determined to enjoy the moment, our MC adjusts his hood and focuses only on what lies ahead. The next stop is the grand 5th Pioneer City to trade the monster pelts. Before entering, the kid tells the giant dog to hide in the bushes to avoid trouble with the guards. Walking through the bustling streets, the goal is to find the headquarters of the Church Alliance to collect the bounty money. Observing the fancy architecture, the boy notices the divine presence is strong in the place. Shortly after, a huge tower with an open door stands out in the center of the square. Entering the spacious hall, he asks an employee if this is the right place to exchange bounties. The attendant confirms as the warrior unrolls the giant werewolf pelt on the counter. Surprised and incredulous, the clerk thinks it's a prank and says the fabric looks like common dog fur. However, upon closer inspection, the guy's eyes go wide with shock. Stammering, the employee yells to the whole hall that the merchandise is genuine werewolf hide. Still in shock, the clerk asks if it was the boy himself who took down the terrifying beast. Without showing any reaction, our MC just nods, waiting for his payment. Minutes later, in the luxurious waiting room, the silence is broken by the arrival of a church superior. The priest apologizes for the delay, explaining he had to verify the authenticity of such a rare item. Placing a heavy leather pouch on the table, he hands over the big bucks and asks the young man to check it. Upon opening the bag, the shine of 40 gold coins reflects in the kid's eyes, guaranteeing years of luxury. Holding real gold for the first time, the hero's heart beats differently. not out of fear, but out of greed. With a grin from ear to ear, he mentally agrees that cash in hand is always a good thing. However, the priest clears his throat, changing the mood and looking at the hunter seriously. Taking advantage of the stranger's obvious skills, the priest asks if he'd be up for another little job. Upon hearing the word request, the boy sees the perfect opportunity to earn even more. The clergyman explains that a new monster has recently appeared in the local quarry, causing a major headache. Unable to work, the miners have stopped extracting bloodstones, stalling the city's economy. The problem is so serious that the monster in there is considered much worse than a common werewolf. And for some reason, the priest trusts that this quiet young man is the only one capable of solving the problem. Curious about the level of the challenge, our boy asks what the exact species of the creature is. In a grim tone, the priest reveals the aberration's name, Mad Skull, valued at 70 gold coins. Hearing the name, the kid's memory flashes, connecting the dots with the macabre journal he read before. And the worst part is, the memory isn't just from the pages but from his own hide, as he's crossed paths with this beast before. The creature is known for having a head as hard as steel and eyes that glow with pure red hatred. Its absurd aggression and raw resilience make a werewolf look like a harmless kitten next to it. In the past, our MC struggled for a whole month and kicked the bucket about 20 times before managing to kill one of these. Worried by the young man's silence, the priest asks if the hunt will be too difficult. With a confident smile and a glint in his eye, the hunter accepts the mission on the spot. At the entrance of the immense circular quarry, the atmosphere already shows this is going to be serious business. Looking at the stopped machinery and the deathly silence, the hero understands the city's desperation. The negative energy from the pit is so bizarre it gives you chills just being near it. Determined to solve this quickly, our MC starts to descend the stairs when a voice interrupts him. A group of well-armed mercenaries tells the stranger to hold his horses and respect the line. Losing his patience, the boy questions since when there's a waiting list to kill dangerous monsters. Raising his hands in a sign of peace, the mercenaries' leader tries to calm things down. The big guy suggests they join forces, forming a team to hunt the Mad Skull together. Thinking fast, our MC realizes that waiting his turn and splitting the reward is no advantage at all. But at the same time, joining their group could save energy and avoid unnecessary fights. But the lesson learned at the tavern screams in his mind, warning him not to trust anyone here. With a scowl, our hero refuses the offer and asks why they want to recruit a complete stranger. With an awkward laugh, the leader confesses he prefers to ensure the group's safety at all costs. In his view, the boy's strength would be a valuable asset for everyone's survival. But the kid, suspicious of the sudden change in tone to something so respectful, asks where they got the idea that he's strong. At that exact moment, the answer appears in the form of his giant wolf partner, who emerges, sniffing behind a blonde woman on the team. The girl plays with the monster, amazed to see such an independent beast act like a tame puppy. Annoyed by the disobedience, the young man mutters under his breath, since he told the creature to stay hidden. Distracted, the big wolf chomps down on a giant piece of meat the mercenary offered as a treat. Upon seeing the food, the animal completely ignores its owner's angry face, and suddenly, the juicy piece of meat slips from the beast's mouth, falling right onto the dusty ground. In a fit of indignation, the warrior glares at the traitorous wolf, finding it absurd to be traded for a snack. Even worse is the perfect shine of the meat, which, even on the ground, looks irresistible and juicy. Swallowing hard, our MC's stomach rumbles loudly, betraying the insane hunger of someone who only eats plants and monsters. Trembling with desire, the kid's entire body craves the taste of real human food. And even with the piece lying in the dirt, the urge to take a bite is almost uncontrollable. Fighting for his own dignity, the hero reaches out a trembling hand, trying to resist the temptation to grab the food off the ground. Like an angel descending from heaven, the kind blonde woman notices his hunger and offers another clean piece directly to the boy. With his eyes shining in ecstasy, the young man receives the offer as if it were a divine miracle. In his hungry mind, the woman becomes an illuminated and super trustworthy saint just because of the snack. Shortly after, the scene cuts to the entire team descending together through the dark quarry cave. Devouring the tasty meat skewer, the hero cries imaginary tears of pure culinary happiness. Taking advantage of the walk, the kind girl finally breaks the ice and suggests formal introductions. The team's leader introduces himself as Jonathan, commanding the Black Marlin mercenary group. Happily chewing his food, our protagonist introduces himself as Jin and accepts the partnership, feeling like he's now part of the crew. Arriving at the battle zone, the mercenary leader already tells the crew to prepare the net traps. Turning his back, the guy asks the blonde girl to start her support service. In a flash of magic, the healer invokes a mysterious power that surprises our hero. A mystical circle spreads across the ground, revealing the pure force of that ancient technique. Concentrated, the girl blesses the entire terrain to give the team an absurd tactical advantage. Quickly, the agility buff covers the lead warrior's body, making his steps as light as a feather. Feeling the energy flow, the mercenary praises the perfection of the skill cast by his partner. In a quick dash, he announces he'll lure the beast in 5 minutes, tops. Flying low, the guy's boots barely touch the stones on the ground, thanks to the powerful magic. Waving from a distance, the leader shouts, ordering everyone to get ready for the attack. Assessing the scene, the kid notices the incredible speed the buff has granted his ally. Full of curiosity, our MC immediately asks if there's a chance to learn that cool trick. Cutting off the small talk, one of the thugs yells that this isn't the time for chit-chat. Completely tense, the man warns that any stupid mistake here will result in everyone's demise. Thinking about the strategy, our boy deduces the plan is to corner the beast and unload everything they've got. However, deep down, the warrior highly doubts such a simple tactic will work against a mad skull. Suddenly, the leader reappears, running at top speed, desperately fleeing from a brutal threat. Screaming at the top of his lungs, the guy gives the green light for the trap team to act. Right behind him, a huge boar like aberration tramples the scenery, foaming with rage. Shaking in their boots, the mercenaries are shocked to come face to face with the nightmare up close. Blind with fury, the monster falls perfectly into the kill zone marked by the group. In a synchronized move, the colossal net plummets from above, right onto the heavy creature's back. Straining hard, the men pull the steel ropes to pin the beast to the dirty ground. Taking advantage of this opening, the dart team takes position, preparing their sharp spears. Tearing through the wind, the throwing weapons fly straight towards the immobilized target. But the mutant beast lets out a deafening roar and shatters the iron mesh with sheer brute force. Thrown violently, the mercenaries lose control of the ropes, completely stunned. With a terrifying burst, the beast breaks free and crushes any hope of an easy victory. Without showing any surprise, our MC just watches the catastrophe, knowing it would go south. Completely desperate, the leader shouts, warning that the beast's strength has overpowered all their defenses. In a cold sweat, the thugs try to hold the broken ropes, but the damage is already done. In a deadly spin, the monster slices through what's left of the trap using its giant tusks. Frightened by the imminent tragedy, the healer swallows hard, foreseeing the worst possible fate. Faster than lightning, the boy grabs the girl by the waist, pulling her from danger. Right where the girl was standing, the massive beast destroys the stone floor in a furious charge. Sliding safely, our hero carries his partner far from the impact zone with no effort at all. Furious that its main course escaped, the aberration focuses its red eyes directly on the pair. Still in the young man's arms, the blonde girl screams, warning about the beast's absurd danger level. With a sadistic smirk, the kid tells the girl to just relax. After all, our MC knows every single one of that creature's cursed weaknesses perfectly. Roaring with hatred, the mutant kicks up a cloud of dust, ready to annihilate the cocky kid. Drawing his blade, the warrior charges into a direct confrontation with an aggressive advance. In the brutal impact of the collision, the monster's crushing force almost breaks the young man's cross-guard defense. Claws and teeth press down hard, pushing the hunter back violently. Even while skidding on the ground, the hero lets out a chuckle, admitting he let his guard down for a second. Quickly, the healer casts that support magic directly onto the young warrior's back. In the blink of an eye, the weight of his body vanishes, and his agility skyrockets. Turbo, charged with the blessing, the protagonist is absolutely certain the hunt has become a walk in the park. From the back, the desperate leader yells, begging the rookie to fall back and wait for a group attack. Ignoring the order, our boy accelerates through the dust cloud, changing the pace of the combat. Mentally, the young man confesses that he much prefers to handle these tough jobs alone. With impeccable mastery, the hero dodges, making the bulky aberration kiss nothing but air. From his sharp read of the battle, the enemy is just a roided out pig that only attacks in a straight line. To change its route, the dumb creature has to hit its tough back against the quarry walls. Taking advantage of this silly detail, the sword slashes the beast's leg, breaking its running stance. Unable to keep its balance, the massive muscle plummets, cracking the ground in a nasty fall. Preparing for the second phase of the plan, our MC praises the magic that made everything 1,000 times easier. Focused on the monstrous anatomy, the young man knows those side tusks cut worse than longswords. In a surgical block, the blade clashes head-on, stopping the beast's indestructible ivory. Redirecting the attack's aim, the real target is now exactly the fleshy, defenseless snout. In a deep vertical gash, the beast's nose is torn open, sending blood spraying everywhere. Screaming in agony, the creature completely loses what's left of its sanity and thrashes wildly. Without giving it a sliver of a chance to react, the hero flies forward to deliver the finishing blow. In a perfect spin, the weapon cuts the mad skull's neck, instantly snuffing out the monster's light. Rushing to the scene, the mercenary team freezes in their tracks upon seeing the insane sight. Completely jaw-dropped, the leader and the healer try to process the absurd speed of the victory. Looking for the heroic newcomer, the blonde girl approaches the carcass with cautious steps. Suddenly, the giant red wolf leaps in front, growling deeply, protecting its master. Startled, the girl gets the message and stops immediately, realizing the beast doesn't want anyone snooping around. Back in the light, our hero walks calmly, wiping his stained mouth with the back of his hand. Relieved, the mercenary runs up to the kid and asks how on earth he got out without a scratch. With the utmost coldness, the warrior replies that the dangerous monster has ceased to exist. Right behind the young man, the mountain of boneless meat lies sprawled and defeated on the mined stones. Amazed, the entire group celebrates the unbelievable miracle of someone soloing a beast of this level without help. A loyal squire of the hunts, the big wolf bares its teeth, satisfied after enjoying the leftovers of the bloody show. As soon as the first fight ends, a second mad skull appears out of nowhere, snorting with its eyes ablaze. Realizing the trap, the mercenary leader desperately warns that the hunt isn't over yet. However, the healer's eyes widen as she notices a detail that changes everything. Right behind the beefy beast, a group of noisy piglets tries to keep up with their mother's steps. With high-pitched grunts and curious faces, the little monsters make the situation much less intimidating. Stomping its hoof on the stone floor, the mother boar focuses her gaze only on the escape route. The leader relaxes his shoulders, understanding that the beast doesn't want to fight and was only there to protect her litter. Watching the family disappear into the shadows, the boy admits that fighting a mother and her kids would be too much. That night, back in the 5th Pioneer City, the atmosphere is one of celebration and total relief. Stopping in front of the local guild, the team prepares to collect the prize from the insane hunt. Inside, the leader raises his glass and makes an emotional toast, celebrating that no one lost their life. Full of pride, the big guy says that the best part of being a mercenary is payday. Excited, the group raises their mugs of beer, and the party gets going in the tavern. Confused by the mountain of bags on the table, our MC asks if all that is just the 70 combined coins. Laughing hard, the leader confesses he put the fear of God into the priest responsible for the payment. In the negotiation, the chief argued that the mission was 1,000 times more dangerous than what the paper said. Pounding his chest with pride, the big guy reveals he wrangled an impressive 110 gold coins from the church's coffers. Our hero raises an eyebrow, remembering they didn't even touch the mother monster. With a sly smile and a wink, the leader admits he embellished the story quite a bit to juice up the service fee. Laughing loudly, the mercenaries applaud the scoundrel captain's perfect silver tongue. Observing the scene with a smirk, the boy finds the group's sincerity and craftiness amusing. Cutting the party short for a second, the chief puts a hand on the MC's shoulder, getting his attention. In a fair tone, the man announces to the entire team that he's splitting the profit, giving 50% straight to the hero. Caught by surprise, the kid's eyes go wide, thinking the split is more than generous. But the captain is direct and says that without the stranger's strength, everyone there would have become monster food. Besides, with the increased reward, there was still enough cash left for the rest of the team to have a good time. Very politely, the warrior refuses the huge sum, remembering that the team's magic and distraction were essential. Slamming his mug on the table, the young man decides to show he can be friendly too. In a gesture of pure camaraderie, he announces that drinks for the whole night are on him. Celebrating like there's no tomorrow, the team raises their glasses, promising to drain the tavern's barrels. The next day, at the inn's exit, the boy asks the blonde woman where she's going in such a hurry. Smiling kindly, the healer says she's going into the woods to practice her support magic. Far from the city, in a field illuminated by the moon, the girl focuses entirely on meditation. Tending to her mystical energy, the girl's concentration is so strong that mana glows around her. Hiding behind the trees, the warrior observes the scene, respecting his partner's effort and dedication. With his eyes fixed on the bluish glow, the idea of learning these tricks starts to hammer in the hero's head. Imagining the advantages in a fight, the kid wonders if he could master that absurd power. Later, with his game face on, our MC asks if the healer would be willing to give him some lessons. Without a second thought, the blonde woman breaks into a wide smile and agrees on the spot to teach him everything she knows. Justifying her goodwill, she confesses that teaching magic is the least she can do after he saved her from certain doom. Proud of her new friend, she assures him that any mage would refuse such a request from a warrior, but with him, it's different. But the team leader arrives, warning that learning magic takes years, and the team is leaving in 2 days. With a quick snap of her fingers, the girl suggests the warrior simply travel with them to learn on the way. Wary of disrupting the group's dynamic, our MC quickly makes an excuse, saying he prefers to travel alone. Deep down, the young man hates to lie, but knows that being a loner has become his best defense in this world. Changing the subject, our hero casually asks what the group's next stop is. Upon hearing the destination is the 4th Pioneer City, he realizes their route is the exact same as his. Not missing the chance, the healer insists, and the captain agrees with a smile, finding the coincidence perfect. After all, having a powerhouse like him traveling with them is the best life insurance the mercenaries could ask for. With a discreet smile, the boy gives in to the pressure, and the new group destination is officially set. Days later, on the dirt road, the team advances, accompanying a colossal beast of burden. Looking up, the young man recognizes the creature as a Tarrasque, a giant monster tamed to replace horses. Impressed by the beast's size, he compares it to what he read in the journal of the demonic realm. Leading the march, the big guy warns that the journey will be long and tells everyone to pick up the pace. During the nights of camping under the moonlight, the magic training finally begins, and the kid discovers it's anything but easy. Disappointed with his own lack of talent, he concludes that the worst part of learning is the mind-numbing repetition. Even with the healer teaching patiently, controlling the invisible flow seems to get stuck in the warrior's head. Sweating it out in meditation, the frustration of being stagnant hits the fighter's ego hard. However, this kind of pain and failure is something the protagonist knows inside and out. After all, surviving 12 years of dying in his dreams transformed the young man's mind into an unbreakable machine. Focused and no nonsense, the kid decides he'll try the same thing over and over until the magic happens. Suddenly, in the middle of the darkness, a bluish spark crackles at the tip of the hero's finger. Vibrating with joy, the healer jumps up, announcing he has finally managed to feel the flow of mana. Wiping the sweat from his brow, the young man confesses he's disappointed it took him 10 days just to feel the initial spark. Very honestly, the girl agrees he's terrible at this, but reminds him that many people go their whole lives without ever lighting up a single magical flicker. Excited by the small progress, the teacher pulls some mysterious vials from her bag, announcing it's time for stage 2. Dripping a glowing liquid onto a metal plate, she prepares the special ink for the next step. With a completely straight face, the blonde woman points her finger and tells the kid to take off his shirt right there. Not understanding a thing, the hero obeys as the cold night wind rustles the trees. Concentrating, the healer uses her finger dipped in the magic ink to draw a complex circle on the young man's bare back. Finishing the job, she explains that the drawing will serve as a forced route for the mana to enter his body. Totally focused, the warrior closes his eyes, waiting for the promised energy flow. Suddenly, the symbol glows brightly, releasing sparks that burn like a hot iron on his skin. In a matter of seconds, the protagonist's entire body lights up in an incandescent blue aura, and pure power takes over. With wide eyes, the hero feels an absurd strength rushing through his veins, realizing this magic is on a whole other level of overpowered. With mana coursing through his veins, the boy feels the raw power circulating like thick blood. Watching the young man glow intensely, the healer asks if he can feel the perfect flow of magical energy. Radiant with the result, she announces that the first of 3 crucial steps has finally been successfully completed. According to the rules of magic, the first step is to feel it, and the second is to store it, so that the magical throwdown can happen in the third. Overjoyed, she proposes moving on to the next challenge without wasting any time. The technique consists of forcing mana from the environment directly into the heart while the apprentice holds their breath. Completely focused, the warrior closes his eyes, trying to create this so-called invisible container in his chest. The moment she places her hands on him and initiates the transfer, the entire forest howls with the pressure. But suddenly, a grim shiver runs up the healer's spine, warning her that something is bizarrely wrong. In a shock of energy, the young man's mana overflows like a dark tornado, throwing the girl to the ground. Desperate, she realizes her own life force is being sucked into the chest of that human monster. Before losing consciousness, a violent push throws her body far away, breaking the fatal connection. Still dizzy, the girl looks up and comes face to face with the red wolf, growling low. Stunned, she tries to process if the beast sensed the danger and attacked on purpose to save her life. Seeing the blonde woman on the ground, our MC snaps out of his trance, shouting her name, startled by the chaos. Rushing to his partner, the warrior kneels, worried, asking if she's seriously hurt. Completely in shock, the healer barely responds, as her mind is still reliving the horror she saw. During the magical transfer, the connection forced a macabre vision of the young man's mental world. That spiritual place was supposed to reflect inner peace, but his landscape looked like a hell dominated by distorted beasts. Shaking, she can't understand how a calm boy carries so much darkness in his soul. Grabbing his shoulders, the blonde woman demands a direct and very honest answer. With a trembling voice, she questions if, by any chance, the young man has ever been crazy enough to eat the core of a demonic monster. Confused by the new term, he raises an eyebrow, not knowing what she's talking about. Upon hearing the description of the bluish, energy-filled stone, he shrugs, admitting he eats those all the time. Completely flabbergasted, the girl's eyes go wide, and she asks in a desperate scream how many of those stones he's swallowed. Doing the math in his head, the kid replies with the utmost calm that he's been chewing on those things like snacks for about 12 years. So it must be in the tens of thousands. Hearing this absurd number, the healer's jaw drops, thinking it's a sick joke. In the magic playbook, the rule is clear: if a human swallows a core, they don't survive. The fate of any idiot who tries that is to die from poisoning on the spot. Or even worse, the body mutates and the person becomes a corrupted demonic monster forever.